La 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 la, wait till I get my money right.
What's going on, X? Welcome to Quantum Ascend. I have PAAL AI up on the screen, the 1 week price chart. Gonna dive into Altseason Targets, wave 3, 4, and 5. Where are we headed here for PAAL? So let's go ahead and dive in. I got the weekly chart up. As you can see, back in September of 2023 was the start. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looked real good. Then on the way back down, I took a look at this wick here. That was like around the Trump up time. That looked like something to do with liquidity or an API issue. I do believe that was actually the bottom right here of that move. So what we had was a macro A, a B, and a C, and we just want to make sure that our parameters fit. We have an 85% drop on the A wave. This B wave, 85% drop. Look at that. Howdy doody. How you doing? Looks pretty good there. That's a real clean technical move for PAL. Came down to the bottom, and of course, waves 1 and 2 are done. Wave 2 coming in here and scaring people, but it did not set a new low. So like I said, we have everything written out. We have our Elliott waves. We know right now we're waiting on waves 3, 4, and 5. Before I dig into that, I did create the Quantum Circle private group, 2 daily videos, entries, exits, strategy, a private Discord, a whole lot more. Link to that in the bio, but I promise you guys, just on the better entries and exits alone, that $95 a month is nothing. All right, third wave here. What are we looking at? First thing I want to do is pull this fib across the entire range. That kind of gives us a picture of where we're at. And you look at this and you say, okay, well, a full fib extension up here at $3.52. That would be lovely. That's a massive return from where we're at right now. However, it is not going to be my base case. That's like a 36x from here. Now, what I'll say about PAL is we look at the market cap, we're at like 100 million. Pretty small cap coin. Won't take as much money for this thing to get running. I mean, you can even look back here. Even in February, it kind of went on a run of its own and popped up. You know, that's like a 9x, 8.5x here, just on what happened earlier this year. So the settle down, not fun, but it was very clean, and I love where we're at, and I do think we have new highs coming here for PAL. Again, though, not looking up there to that 352. What I want to do is I want to take this B wave high here. Oh, sorry, this was February of 2024, last year. This was the Trump pump right here in November. So I'm going to take the high from that Trump pump that ended in December to the low, and we're going to draw that out. Sure enough, when we do that, we get some different targets here for PAL. We're looking at around $1.84 on a full extension of this range. For me, that's going to be like my primary, kind of, you know, a little bit more, I wouldn't say more conservative because that's a massive move from where we're at right now, but I don't have it going the full extension there. And how these things typically move, what we're going to want here on this third wave, we're going to want to exceed this B wave high. And so typically that'll how that happens, we'll get up to this 1618 here and then come back to back test that level. So real quick, the 1618, that's on this range right up there, just shy of 75 cents, a nice round psychological number. But I'm going to put this back on because we see some confluence here. That 75-cent level of the 1618 is right here on the 786 of this entire range. So these two lines right here, we see an area of interest. And based on these how these things would generally move, it makes sense that we find some resistance right there around 75. Okay, then we always talk about fourth wave coming back in to at least back test this high. Oftentimes it'll come down into the retracement levels, right? And on this fourth wave move, we usually get between a 35 and 50% drop. With PAL being a smaller cap, it's going to be closer to that 50-cent level, or 50% level, excuse me. So I'm going to take this from up here. We'll say at the 75 level. Just to get back to this B wave high, we're only looking at 35%. All right, and we're expecting more closer to 50. So we see right here the 618 and the 309. There's confluence right there. We see the 382 right in between the 786 and 702 there. So there's a ton of support coming in this level. 56%, little deep, could definitely happen though. But for the time being, we'll take it closer to that 50-cent mark, right there around like 36.5 cents for our fourth wave, before we then go off into a blow off here at around $1.84. So, guys, those are some big gains with where we're at right now. We've just been waddling down here. This thing's been a total pain in the ass. But looking at where we got to go, that gives us a nice 7.5x to get up to that wave 3 high. And then even with this target not being a full extension, you're looking at an 19x from the current price level. All right, and that makes complete sense with this being a smaller cap coin. And you've seen how this baby can get going when it gets going. I mean, just right here, that third wave, what did we get? What kind of gas was that? That third wave alone, 1600. Where does that bring us? Right up to that target, right? This was a newer coin, so it was really low market cap down here. Let's see. Yeah, we're talking like 20 million was the market cap down there. So it got that extra gas, but we've seen that can happen, and it's happened in the past. And these other targets out here are still not out of the question. We just got to see how this thing moves, and this third wave is going to be pretty indicative of that. We should have a much better idea, but makes complete sense for us to run up here above that B wave high, but still stay short of the all-time high. We get that deep retrace down here where we found some confluence in the fibs, and then we run off and ride off into glory. So what I'll say, guys, is, as we get moving here, I'll keep you in the loop. This third wave doesn't quite up getting as high, gets down here. This price movement could look a little bit different. Targets could be adjusted, but for the time being, I feel really good about a full extension at minimum of that Trump pump range. So run up to 75 cents, fall back to 36.5 cents. Final target, $1.84, my friends. That's what we're looking at for PAAL today. Like I mentioned, join the Quantum Circle, real-time trades, my portfolio access, 2 macro videos a day, a Discord. I'm teaching you how to do TA just like me. Link to that in the bio. If not, just super appreciative you guys are here. If you could follow, like, repost. I want to reach as many people as I can before it's too late. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. I got a few more rolling out today. I will talk to you then.